they will need less SDR. The demand of SDR will go down.
There's a future where AI is going to completely take them over, and what that's going to do is it's going to mean
we still need like a salesperson to help out also with any issue, with deal negotiation, with having things personalized.
You could tell it was automated, bad automation that we had before. And we know that this kind of automation doesn't really work. But the question is that if you had to fully automate some things, what would it be?
Hello, one and all. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much for giving us your Wednesday afternoon. I know this is some time of day where maybe you're kind of trying to finish off some tasks that you haven't had time for, and we really appreciate that you are spending that time here with us. We've got a really, really fun session packed today. We have the amazing Laura, Patricia, and we have Pierre Tuzov from Clap and Zelic. So just to kind of give you an overview of what we'll be going through today, we have a lot of stuff to talk about and really exciting things. This is going to be kind of, if anyone came to our previous webinar, we would like to kind of keep this as an Ask Me Anything situation. So if you guys have any questions about AI in sales, about SDRs, about account executives and AI in general, and in the sales category, do ask them. There is a questions button at the bottom right of your screen. You can ask a question anytime there, and I promise I will cut one of these two off to make sure that they answer it. We're going to try and make this as minimal on the slides and as maximal on the information today. As you can see, the title of this webinar is Will AI Kill the Sales Rep? 3 Strategies You Need to Survive and Thrive. A very scary title, but we're going to be talking about really exciting, positive, good things today. So to kind of introduce our speakers today, I will start with introducing Laura Patricia, who is, as you can see, the head of marketing at Zelic.
Yeah, thanks for the quick introduction, Max. As he introduced, I'm the head of marketing of Zelic. You must be wondering, this is a webinar about sales. Why is she here? It's because prior to this, I've been working in sales for 5 years, dealing with 5 to 6 figures sales number. So yeah, I've been working in sales for a while, but during COVID, during the mass layoff, I decided to join a very small company. So with limited resources and obviously limited hire, like me and my colleague at that time, we thought that it would be better to do inbound. We will just deal with the demo and with the actual closing as an AE. And during this period, I was doing both sales and marketing, but I was learning a lot on the marketing side. So right now, it has been 1.5 years that I'm in Zelic, and I've been doing full-time marketing. But at the same time, my passion still lays on sales. That's why I'm the head of marketing for a company which does sales solution.
Thank you very, very much, Laura. That's really nice to have you here. And then we are also here with the wonderful Pierre, who is our co-founder here at Clap.
Thanks a lot, Max. So hi everyone, I'm Pierre. So I'm one of the co-founders at Clap. Clap is an AI sales assistant. And to give you a bit of my background, so before Clap, I was in a company called 360 Learning that we grew from when I joined, we were like maybe 20 people to a bit more than 200 people. I was in charge of both the marketing team, but also like the SDR and BDR team. So I'm also like very familiar with both like the kind of the SDR space, but also like more the closing strategy. And we've been experiencing and playing a lot with AI with Clap in the past 2 years. We did a lot of mistakes and we learned like a lot of stuff. So happy to share some learnings today.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So let's just take an opportunity before we jump into the first slide to answer one of these questions from Andrea. So Andrea asks, well, how can I use AI to coach me into the SDR role? As I am new to this role, I come from customer service. Let's start with you, Laura. How would you think AI would be best suited to coach them into this SDR role?
I think for this is more of a Clap question. I think if I'm not wrong, Max, because what you do, you're doing coaching, like you will have a meeting recording and then you can do coaching if I'm doing your value prop, right? Yeah, so I think this is how AI can help with how how SDR or CS deal with their day-to-day situation. Like what do you think about it, Pierre? I think you're better at pitching about the coaching part.
Yeah, the coaching part for new SDR. I think it's to be honest, it's a mix of like AI, but also like human managers. I would say like the most important is really to get the basics of what is a good SDR. And I think like the most, it's not really related to AI, what I'm going to say, but it's more related to like the role of SDR, which is a bit counterintuitive, but you don't need to pitch, but you need to basically listen to your like prospect and be able to ask the right questions and answer to objections the right way. And typically you need to do a lot of like training to become better at this. And where I think AI can really help you a lot, I would say, like, for example, first to prepare the type of questions that you are going to ask. If you know your prospect in advance, you might be like much more relevant. So for example, I'm going to show you a quick tool I use, for example, every day to prepare my discovery call, for example. And the second stuff where you can really use AI is more after the call to also analyze yourself. Like, for example, I get some like statistics, like automating like recommendations and so on. So I would say like on my side for the SDR part, leveraging AI in that order.
Definitely, you both did had some really good insights there. And like I said, we're going to be talking about things that can help Andrea there for the rest of this webinar. So definitely keep watching, Andrea, because I think the rest of this is going to be really applicable to your situation. So let's jump into the first slide here. So based on the title of this webinar, will AI kill the sales rep? It's a very like scary, doomy sounding sentence, and it's kind of a big topic. If anyone here in this webinar works in sales, I'm assuming most people do, they'll know that the conversation of what an AE is and what an SDR is completely changing. It's been happening for many years, but in the past year, since the AI boom, it's completely transformed, and what is expected of each role is completely changed. So what I would love to hear from both Pierre and Laura, how is the role of an account executive going to have to change to adapt to kind of exist in the post-ChatGPT world?
For me, I think AI is not going to change the role of AI. I've been like teasing it a little bit on my LinkedIn when I do the webinar promo, that AI will basically enhance the productivity of a SDR especially. And what you shared here is I've seen it for the first time today actually, Max, and I thought it's pretty interesting because I mentioned just now that okay, let's not do the BDR role, let's just do the AE role right now. When I was in my previous company, which is Surf. Quite interesting and how this looks like, because AI can definitely help SDR to work more efficiently in terms of prospection, maybe, or writing email, in terms of like meeting recording with Clap. So a lot of things that they do will be more efficient, and maybe with the big data that we have that will be processed by AI, for example, you will have more conversion. So maybe instead of only converting like 1 to 3%, which is market average from discovery, which is cold calling, to the end, instead of like 1 to 3%, you'll convert 10 to 30 is broad number, but with higher efficiencies, having the 80-20 mindset, 20% effort, 80% ROI, I think they will need less SDR. The demand of SDR will go down. Hence, this is why I guess the role growth index goes down. So that's my opinion about it. But there are things that AI cannot replace, basically, like creating a human connection, having this like personal love for your product. Because a lot of people actually bought Zalek is because they love the branding actually. So this is something that they cannot replace, which is the AE part. So hence the role of the AE is growing. And that's my thought about it, that AI is not going to replace, but it's just going to enhance. And later on, Pierre and Max and me, we are going to play a game to show you some of the things that can be enhanced and automated. So it can be quite interesting to see about that.
But I guess my opinion is probably like changing from one day to another. But no, I think like what this slide is telling us is that the role of the sales is going to evolve a lot, and basically like the split between like SDR and AE and so on, it was really based on this book like Predictable Revenue,
right.
And it was really, even before without AI, with a way to kind of process and like tailorize like all the sales tasks to be more efficient. We divided the role between like SDR and AE, but the problem is that and it's something, for example, I've experienced firsthand at 360 Learning, for example. But it's like this vision is very vendor centric, meaning that you create a lot of focus and efficiency. But in many cases, it's not also a bad experience for the your prospect, because you are going to have like a first call maybe with like one person in the organization. You are going to explain your problem. So if you're like, okay, it was a good discovery call, maybe I'm going to go with like a second meeting. And then in the second meeting, you are going to re-explain about your problem once again. And overall, like the feedback from like many prospects is that this experience is not great. And to give you an example, at 360 Learning, we realized that the close rate were like much lower when the experience was like full cycle account executive versus a split between like SDR and AE. And right now, for example, a lot of AI SDR companies that basically like do the first part of the SDR job, not the basically taking the calls and so on, but more like sourcing the leads and booking meetings and so on, is going to save time to kind of re-enable this full cycle AE, but in a much more like efficient way. So my feeling that part of the job is going to be replaced, and the role is going to switch at least for like mid-market or like SMB to I think like full cycle AE. But where I think like the duo SDR plus account executive still makes a lot of sense. You mentioned like a human relationship and so on. For example, for more complex deals where you need to navigate within the organization, where you need to like get a lot of insights and knowledge, I think in that order, it makes a lot of sense to still have like the SDR plus AE duo to tackle larger organizations.
Okay, I think it makes a lot of sense also, because I was actually a BDR since 2016, and back in 2016 we just started like learning about this a tool called Outreach, and then with all the automation. In the past we actually had to do the email one by one, or for prospecting also we had to like go through Google, copy and paste them one by one, and also have to find their email on Google. So right now everything can be automated. It might not be super like AI related, but everything can be automated. And yeah, of course, in the broader spectrum, there are more and more companies doing co-pilot actually, where they are able to basically learn about like the prospect that you've been using, and then they will like fit this prospect to you, which I think is quite cool, and which is in the roadmap also for Zalik. So yeah, but I agree with you what you told us, Pierre, like some of the role will be replaced, and I read about it also that the more mundane part of BDR will be replaced, but we still need BDR/SDR basically doing more strategic work, like doing like strategic prospecting, doing intent data. So I think that part is quite interesting, and it's bound to change. I see a very interesting studies about how in the past when calculator first came out, it's like, oh yeah, there's calculator, we don't need mathematician anymore. But it's not true. Until now, we still need mathematician. We just enhance them. We just teach them to think better using the calculator. So I think it's quite interesting on how we see this.
There's a lot of sweating SDRs in attendance that are very relieved to hear you say that.
Andrea, you made the right decision.
Yeah, I think this is a big topic of conversation for a lot of people, is not only what tasks is one going to steal off the other, but like, is one, particularly the SDR, is it even going to exist in 10, 15, 20 years? And there's a lot of people who have many hot takes saying, like, this job is becoming obsolete, it's going to be completely replaced by account executives and AI. So to kind of like lead us into the next section of this webinar, augmented/automated sales funnel. We've had a team of designers working on this for weeks to bring you the most beautiful sales funnel we could. What we're going to be going through a few tasks kind of from Pierre's experience and Laura's experience, and based on their time in various companies, that they believe will either be automated or augmented by AI. And just to give you a very brief summary of what the difference between augmented and automated would mean. Automated would mean something that we can completely step away from, we can connect it, and it's something that will be done without any kind of human intervention. Augmented is going to be something that you're still going to be doing that human task daily, weekly, whatever your routine may be, but you will be kind of supported in some way by AI tools. Now, on the right side here, I've got a few examples of little tasks that sales may be interested in different sections of the sales funnel, which if you're in sales, you'll be hyper aware of these different sections: awareness, interest, consideration, decision, top of the funnel down to the bottom of the funnel, and hopefully a sale comes out down the bottom end. So to kind of take us into this section, I would love to kind of start with the awareness, interest, top of the funnel area. Laura, Zelic is a prospecting tool principally.
Yes.
So I feel like your expertise here is going to be really interesting. Based on the conversations you guys have internally, what you kind of see from your own research and reading, what are some tasks that you think could be completely changed by AI? Like, I would love to hear what you think is going to be augmented and, you know, safe from being completely replaced, and then what tasks are going to be completely replaced.
Here I saw you put prospecting, Max, and prospecting can be huge. But if you are talking about the first part of prospecting, doing the filter, looking for the person, I think this task can be fully automated. Like I was in the US just like a month ago, talking to a couple people coming from like Salesforce, Google, all of my ex-BCG colleagues, and they mentioned that right now they are basically building like machine to read through big data of your ICP, and then eventually the goal is to feed you like automated prospect list. So I think this part, like in the future, it will be automated, where basically you get like a list of like people, a list of prospect that you can target, so it can be automated. But just last year, if you remember, like the CEO of Google were actually sharing that there's a way for you to call a beauty salon, to create like a call for appointment. I think it was pretty scary, and a lot of BDR who like to do cold calling are sweating. But I personally think that for the moment, at least, this task cannot be automated because it requires like a human touch, requires personalization, requires you to understand, what the person is doing, understand the tone of voice when they are speaking. So for me, this part for cold calling, it can be augmented. Yeah, Pierre and me will show you how later. But for the moment, I think this is more on the augmented side.
Okay.
So that's my opinion for the awareness.
On this, I might have a different opinion. And the truth is, we actually tried the AI SDR, like a lot of new service, and it didn't work at all.
Oh no!
It was a kind of a failure. I don't know if it was because of the product, because it's not ready, or maybe because we didn't have like the right knowledge to like feed the model.
I see.
But the proof, at least, is that the task can be really fully automated in a really like a autonomous way. Basically, you give him a target and he's going to automatically like source like leads, write the sequence, etc. It works in a way.
Yeah.
But the main issue is that the good you can do outbound, but it doesn't mean that you do like really good outbound in terms of like reaching the right person with like the right email copy and so on. The issue that we had was that the messaging was still like you could tell it was automated, like with bad automation that we had before. And we know that this kind of automation doesn't really work. The messaging was still like not personalized enough. But I think it's very likely that in the short-term, mid-term future, they will be able to like fix like those problems.
True.
I think it might be able to happen, and same with like a cold calling. That I know they launched a service to do like a cold calling, and you have like a new API from OpenAI real-time API that are going to really unlock this kind of experience. I think my only take to reassure you, Andrea, is that there are like businesses where like the human touch is really, really important, and the context that you have really makes a difference. And at the same time, there are like some businesses, for example, the debate around automation, it's the same we had with like a product-led growth and freemium product. It was a way to skip the salespeople to buy a product. And it works very well like for some businesses like SMB and so on, because you don't care about speaking with AI, you want to test the product right away, and you need to get the information even at midnight or 1 a.m. and so on. So yeah, I think it's for me, it's going to be for sure AI SDR are going to exist. It's going to be a mix, I think.
There's a very good answer. Yeah. I just really like the PLG example as well. It's not always having to use like AI SDR to bypass this, but like with PLG also. But eventually, we still need like a salesperson to help out also with any issue, with deal negotiation, with having things personalized and stuff. So
yeah, I think what a lot of people are saying is kind of those kind of maybe initiate qualifying tasks. Maybe there's a future where AI is going to completely take them over, and what that's going to do is it's going to mean that the SDRs are actually pulling some of the tasks away from the AEs, and the AE's job is going to completely change just simply because the SDR is going to be kind of like turning qualified leads into like actual opportunities. AE's job is going to be purely as a closer. So I think it's really interesting to like think about the different possibilities of how these roles are going to change. Moving kind of down the funnel here, moving towards around the consideration, interest, kind of like once you've got a lead qualified and you're past the discovery call and you're kind of doing these demos. Yeah, I would love to hear your kind of expertise here in how AI is going to completely, how is it going to affect this section of not only qualifying, but of actually closing and becoming more efficient at closing, and at the end of the day, winning more deals, getting better closing rates, which is what every sales manager is stressing about.
Yeah, so I think on this, and it's like it's a question we've been asking ourselves for a long time now, and there are like two sides here that we try to address. The first one is more as a sales rep, is really how to basically like be more productive and how to get the right information to close your deal. So typically there are like stuff that are like pretty common now, but like the summary, the CRM enrichment, crafting like your follow-up email, or for example, we launched a feature but to help you like prepare your next demo or your sales proposal. And this part is really about the augmented and basically really saving a lot of save time, like sales time every day. And then I think there is also the other part, which is more for sales managers and sales coach, which is basically you don't have really time to, for example, like review calls, like all this kind of stuff. So it's really about how to be an assistant, like a kind of a coach assistant to help you understand, okay, where you're at on this, like specific deal, what's your forecast, what kind of like objections are like your sales rep are like facing every day, what kind of like training are you trying to do. So at the moment I would say like we are in a situation where we know how to, and we have the technology to do like those two very well. Thing that we are seeing now is that OpenAI is also, as I said, like launching new real-time API, also with like all the data that you can get. You can really build a system that is like much more intelligence. Basically, like you can really know about the knowledge of like your company or like your best sales rep and so on. But the question is that if you had to fully automate some things, what would it be? For example, one question we have at the moment is, for example, having some bots to do like role plays with sales rep. Let's say like you are like joining a company, and at the moment what you do is that you have like some sessions with your like coach and sales manager where one is trying to basically play the role of a prospect and the sales rep is going to play the role of the sales rep. But we know that all those situations are like a bit fake in a way, and it takes a lot of time. So for example, if we manage to fully create a fake persona to do role plays, that will be like amazing for sales enablement. So yeah, I would say at the moment we do mostly augmented, but we are looking at ways to also create agents that will help basically improve your close rates in the end.
This is a very exciting future because I feel very similar to EPA, kind of like where right now it's kind of some of the AI SDRs and some of the potential of like AI coaching and all these things is like kind of, it's like you said, still kind of the dawn of all these technologies, and there's so many exciting things going on, especially with RAG model that we've talked a lot about internally. And the real-time APIs. This funnel could be spoken about forever, and we could go through each task individually, but to keep things moving, let's kind of get on to the final stage of this webinar, which is going to be a question to each of you. If I could just ask each of you to kind of provide some immediate value to anyone who is attending this webinar right now. I would love for you guys to kind of explain, demo any AI sales tools that people could use immediately, something they can finish this webinar and go and try out themselves, or go and research and kind of hopefully bring into their sales methodology and their sales pipeline. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything that you would love to, any AI tips, any AI tools you think are kind of underrated and under.
Yeah, so the goal is not to push you clap, but I have one thing I discovered recently, which is something that is really taking me a lot of time, is to prepare my, especially like the first meeting I can have with like prospect. It's quite hard to get the nice icebreaker to create the relationship, but also to make sure that you jump straight away to the most interesting questions. I was using ChatGPT a bit to prepare my discovery call and so on. And actually, like I read the post, and I'm sorry because I forgot the name of the person, but I will try to send it to you after to give him like credit. But I'm basically using, I can share it with you. I'm using Perplexity to basically prepare my discovery call. And let's say, for example, I want to prepare a discovery call with Laura. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to basically write this prompt. So create a detailed, well-documented, organized structure and illustrating journalist profile with links, videos, mentions, press articles, and so on about, so the name of your prospect, the job title plus the company. And then if I click here, so automatically it's going to like create a really nice, basically summary about like Laura. So I can quickly understand about like the career, like trajectory and so on. I have some information about the education. I have like some information about like achievement, if there are like some stuff in common, also professional background, like anything that you need to do. Then you have also like additional questions that you can even ask. And where I really love this kind of things is that on ChatGPT, it's really a big blocker because you can't access LinkedIn and all the information. And here you really get access to like everything. And honestly, like, yeah, it's for me, it saves me like a crazy amount of time between like before each discovery meeting I have.
That's so cool. This can be transferred to my Wikipedia page, I think. And eventually we'll have my own Wikipedia. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I agree also, it took me a lot of time to prepare my discovery call, just to do a research so that the first hello won't be so awkward when I do a cold call. So it's definitely useful, and like the audience can like try it out later, especially for their next cold call.
Yeah, this is incredibly cool. I did not know that AI could do all this already. I can use this for all sorts of things when I want to call up and complain about someone on the phone or something. Have this background. Okay, that's awesome. What's called Perplexity. We'll make sure that we kind of we inform everyone on the way out as well about this. That seems really cool. Laura, is there anything that you feel like you got to share with the world?
Yep. So Max actually dropped this question 10 minutes ago, and I was like thinking, what tool do I really generally use every day? But the goal here is not to push Zalek, but sometime in a cold call, even if I have the practical information, I feel kind of awkward because I don't really know the personality of the person. So together with Zalek, we work with a company called Crystal, which is a personality analysis company based in the US, and we actually integrated together with Zalek. So if I'm sharing my screen right now, and if you download the LinkedIn extension, for example, and I'm now in Pierre's page over here, and I want to add him into Zalek, and after he has been added, so right now I want to target Pierre. I want to sell my solution to Pierre. So what I do, I can just click this personality analysis, and I know that he's an initiator and he's pretty ambitious. And I have all of the information that I need over here. So when I talk to Pierre, for example, I can be somewhere in between patient and direct. And you guys can also copy and paste this, whoever wants to sell your solution to Pierre later. And basically have like different recommendation, things to do, things not to do, his motivation, and more things that you can see over here. So a lot of information that is being given by a company called Crystal, and this has been very helpful in order to know whether I should sound more serious or more fun during a call. And then another example that I can give maybe for Max.
Laura, I have a question on this.
Yes.
Do you do like some training and role plays for your SDR based on the personality of the prospect?
Yes.
Use? And okay, this person is like this, so this is the type of hook that you can do. Do you have like stuff like this that you use internally?
Yes, we do. Like for different type of like person, especially because for different persona, and then we will have different type of script. For example, someone who is more empathic, for example, then we will use more emotion when we sell our solution. But someone who is more practical, then we will talk purely about numbers, for example. So it's different script for different people in selling. All right. Just for fun, one last thing, just to see what Max is really like in his personality wise. So I will add him to Zalek, and then to deblock his personality. Like over here, I can see all of his traits and personality, and I have a couple of recommendations, the things that I should do and not do. It's in French, but it's also available in English as well. And
I'm very happy I don't speak French because I'd probably be Blushing right now.
Max says inaccurate because it doesn't say that he's handsome, but it's okay. We will take the feedback to Crystal about it. So, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, good. This the main stuff we want to know about our prospects. Thank you both. Those are really cool. I mean, there's so many other tools out there, but those are really, really useful ones that I had no idea about that I definitely would I would love to start using. So before we finish up, I'm just going to open up the floor to any questions, and I think I can see that we have a couple here from our resident question asker, Andrea. Thank you so much. This one is specifically about Clap or Zelic. This is really wonderful. So regarding Clap or Zelic, how could I pitch them to my manager? I don't think I have the budget, but I'd love to use these tools. So yeah, this is an interesting little kind of pitching exercise for both of you. How would you do that to a non-decision maker?
Yeah, so Andrea, what you can say about Clap is that two benefits. So for you, is really about helping you save like 30 minutes after like each meeting that you have, whether it's about like getting your summary, your CRM being updated, writing your follow-up email, and so on. The first benefit is really about productivity, and typically you can tell him that you are going to take even more calls if you use like a Clap, for example. And the second benefit is more for your managers. You will be able to basically understand what's working and what's not working in your sales calls and sales meetings, and also getting automatic like insights about like the top objections, competitors, deal insights, and so on. So in the end, about improving your close rate.
For Zelic, basically, if we have to go on the cost structure, because again, like Max asked, we have different pitch for different type of needs. But if we are addressing the cost side, basically Zelic is an all-in-one solution. So it's one of the more economical solution out there in the market. We have prospecting, so you basically have free lead database, and then we have the enrichment, one of the cheapest in the market. Yet also with 80% success rate for email and 60% success rate for phone number. And subsequently, you can use Zelic to do like your email automation. And we also recently just added LinkedIn automation as well. So it's really an all-in-one tool, and it's also great as a workspace. As Pierre break it down, it's good for the BDR, but it's also good for a manager because it's also a team workspace where you can easily assign lead and also, see your team's performance as well. And we also have 14 days for free. So yeah.
Amazing. That's not normally you get to like finish a webinar and get kind of asked to pitch your product. Normally you kind of have to hide that part of the webinar. So that's really nice. This is a really good time for us to stop it. There's so many more amazing things we could say, obviously, and it's a humongous topic. I'm sure we'll probably end up having to have another webinar on it in a few months, the way it's changing so rapidly. But we got one more thing in the chat. A thank you from Andrea. Thank you, Andrea. Love the participation. That is everything. Thank you so much, Pierre. Thank you so much, Laura, for coming in and putting so much time and effort into this. This is really cool. I really hope everyone's kind of walked away with something that they can literally do right now. We will be in contact with everyone afterwards as well to kind of remind them of everything that we've talked about here. Thank you so much. I'm going to end the webinar now. Bye, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye.